If you take notes, you will see that God was creating a situation that would bring about a miracle that would feed 5,000 people. Everything was planned by God, so it was specific and I mean divinely orchestrated that the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes would remain with the little boy no matter what he does, no matter how he eats, no matter where he's getting it from. And because of divine orchestration, there will always be 5 loaves and 2 fishes remaining that God will use. No matter how you heat it, no matter how you try to exhaust it, something will remain for God to use. It's happened in the case of the widow woman. She was struggling with little. She had very little to feed from. But God was mindful of that last portion that He wanted to do a miracle with. And if God is going to make a miracle with your last bread, it means that bread is not ordinary. It means the bread is divine. So it may be little, but it is divine. It may be small, but there is something extraordinary about it. It may not look like it is much, but because it is divine, it can take you further than you expected. It may not look like it can serve you for many days, but because it is divine, because God has eyes on it, it is going to beat your expectation and it is going to bring about a miracle. It may not look like it is going to help you and your family, but there is something divine about it that will bring about a surprise. Am I talking to somebody this morning? It may be small, but it has the potential, and with the potential it has, it will not end like every other bread. You are going to eat every other bread. You are going to spend your provision as usual, but there is something about the last bread that God has planned for. There is something about the last bread that God has planned for, and it will follow the timing of God so that you don't eat it before the time. It is going to follow God's calculation and precision so that you don't spend it, and so that God will interrupt you before you eat it, so that you will not eat the miracle as you eat the last bread. Am I talking to somebody this morning? So sometimes what you have may be small, but it can get you far because it is extraordinary. It can get the work done even if it is small. It doesn't have to be big for it to be effective. It is small, but it can make the difference because every good and perfect gift comes from God, in whom there is no shadow of turning. It is small, but it is a good gift from God. It may be small, but it is good enough to drive you from point A to point B. It is small, but it is good enough to change your situation. It may be small, don't underestimate it because it is extraordinary and it is good enough to push you and make you stand out. Even when every other person is saying that there is a famine, what you have may be little, but because there is ordination on it, because there is a divine purpose on it, because God has His eyes fixed on it, it is not going to get exhausted. Am I talking to somebody right now? It doesn't matter if what you have right now is small. What matters is that you have something that God is placing His hands upon, and you're thinking right now that it is going to get exhausted and you will die because this is your last provision. You will die because this is the last person you have to help you. You will die because without this job you can't keep feeding. But God is saying this morning, I've got my eyes on that which you call your last, and I'm about to come for it, and you need not to worry because I have a plan for the last, and if I have a plan for your last, it won't be your last. Listen, if I have a plan for your last meal, saith the Lord, you can eat it and die. At the door of your heart and I knock. And if you open, I will come in and I will dine with you, which means I will eat with you. I know what you have left is little. That is why I'm coming to eat it with you. Because anything I put my hands into shall not get finished. There is going to be an overflow if you allow me to step in and manage the last prayer with you. You don't complain. You don't say you're going to die after this one. You give it something. Let's take it down. Let's take it down. So I can put it together. And so every good and perfect gift comes from God, in whom there is no shadow of turning. So it is the last bread. It is small. It is the only thing. But it is a perfect gift from God. It doesn't have to be big for it to be perfect. It might be small, but perfect enough to drive you into God's plan. It might be small, but perfect enough to sustain you and your family. You don't know the God you serve. It uses the little things of the earth to confound the mighty. Anytime God wants to do something extraordinary, it goes for what is little. It goes for that person that seems small. It goes for the David that is so small in the front of a mighty Goliath. He likes using little things. Are you listening to me, somebody? It's not just the God of the great things, it's also the God of the little things. God doesn't have a problem with the fact that what you have is little. It doesn't have a problem with the fact that when you look around you, there seems to be no help. And the only person that is available to help you is a small guy, is a small lady. He doesn't have a problem with the fact that what you left in your account is small. It says, I will provide according to my riches in glory, not according to your last breath. I know what you have left is small, but I will provide according to what you have left. I'm going to provide according to my riches and glory. So allow me to step into your generation. Allow me to reach this breath with you. Because if you allow me to reach your last breath with you, I will grant you the access into my riches. In my riches, there is manna falling from the hole. In my riches, my loaves can feed 5,000. Tell someone to see that close to you. It is not over yet. Don't look at me like that. Because what I have left is little. The God I serve is a big God. The God I serve is a great God. And we use the little that I have to give you a support. I am listening to me. Don't count me out because I look small. Don't count me out because what I have is small. Don't count me out because I'm coming from a little beginning. Don't despise my little beginning. It's to be a little provision, but don't push me aside. Behind that little provision, there is a bigger. The difference between you and other persons is that what they have may be much, but it lacks divinity, it lacks divine purpose, it lacks the extraordinary. What you have is actually small, but there is something added. So that small that you have that makes the difference. They are eating their surplus and they are dying. You are eating your little and you are filled with life in abundance. God does not give you surplus with physical quantity. God gives you surplus with divine quality. Are you listening to me? So that you will understand that it is not by what you have around you. It is not by the privileges you have around you. It is not by power. It is not by might, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. To Do not despise a man because what he has is small. That small provision has the potential to change the equation. This is David coming to Goliath, and the brothers of David were looking at him. They've got all the weapons to go against Goliath, but Goliath was much more than their weapons. But here is a small guy coming.
Small guy.
Here is and when the guy came, he even used something smaller. Something. I used this Satan. Can I tell you something? God is about to use a small guy. That is why sometimes I have this attitude. When I'm looking for the big man to help me, when I'm looking for that big woman to help me, and they are nowhere to be found, I quickly understand that it seems like God is looking for a small God so that he can give the glory to himself. So every time you don't see a big thing coming, know that God is about to do a small thing that will bring about. I am that small guy that will change the story of my family. I am that small guy. Yes, I'm small, but there is something extraordinary about me. And that small guy that will put Goliath down. Are you listening to this somebody? The stone that put Goliath down was very small, but there was something harder to reach that's ready to penetrate the skull of Goliath. It has to be small so that it can penetrate. You don't big things don't penetrate. It is small things that penetrate. So when God wants to penetrate into the situation sometimes, when God wants to penetrate, when he wants to intervene and break the protocols, it comes with something small. You don't see it coming, but it's going to enter. It's going to penetrate. You don't expect it. Said anything good come out of Nazareth. Nazareth looks so small. I don't. I have just eaten this more, but barely scratched the surface. Listen, you don't take the 5 loaves and 2 fishes seriously until there is a situation, like a critical situation in the wilderness, and there is no other thing to go for except just 5 loaves and 2 fishes, because now you don't have a choice.
Yes. Yes.
Now to look for a miracle.
Yes. Yes.
Because you can journey back. You're going to die. So now everyone is looking at 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and they want to see what God can do with it.
What can he do?
They won't take it seriously when things are going right. It is 5 loaves and 2 fishes. 5 loaves and 2 fishes is usually no big deal in the city, but in the wilderness it is a big deal. So sometimes God is going to take you from where you are into the wilderness so that you can focus on that 5 loaves and 2 fishes that he wants to use. Because sometimes you can be surrounded with surplus and you will not see the biddings of God. You will not understand the directions of God. So for the 5 loaves and 2 fishes to become a miracle, Jesus had to go to the wilderness. He had to let the multitude into the wilderness. God will not do surplus. He will not do a miracle in the place where men have surplus. So he's going to drive them away from their surplus and bring them to the wilderness so that all the seeds and little things and all the world doing is to expect a miracle from the little thing. So people will not take your 5 loaves and 2 fishes seriously until there is a situation that will demand your attention, that will demand the application of what you have. Are you listening to me, somebody? It was a situation that made Nebuchadnezzar to send for Daniel. Daniel had excellent spirit. Daniel, according to the scriptures, they said, we think this man is possessed by the spirits of the Holy God. you have an excellent spirit doesn't mean that you step into the equation just like that. God has to obsess the balance. Because if you try to get into the limelight, if you try to manifest in the place where you are not wanted, then your manifestation will not be effective. It will not be received. It will not be appreciated. So God obsess the balance so that Nebuchadnezzar can have a tight condition. And you can see that God also creates hunger to expose the gift of Joseph. You see that right now. So anytime God wants to do a miracle with the last bread, it will create a situation of exhaustion when the provision will be running out, so that hunger can start coming and the atmosphere will start changing and the eyes and the focus of men will start leaving men and they'll be looking for something that is more than men. Am I talking to somebody right now? What you have is little, but something is about to happen in your family that will make them to start depending on the little that you have. Are you listening to me right now? Well, y'all talk to me. What you have is little, and you can bring the Lord to give you more. And God is saying you don't need more. You just need me to use the little that you have. So I'm going to allow a problem to take place so that men can get focused on the little that you have. I am going to allow the head to have famine so that the importance, so that the ministry of Joseph can manifest, so that Joseph can leave the prison. Because if the famine does not come, Joseph will remain in the prison. Are you listening to me, somebody? The reason why there is going to be a trouble somewhere around you after now is because your talent is about to manifest. Your gift is about to manifest. It is not your fault. Your talent cost it. It is not their fault. Your potential causes. Are you listening to me, somebody? Because they don't want to acknowledge you. They don't want to give you your credit. They don't want to give you your flowers. They don't want to give you your accolades. They think like you are too small. They think like what you have is too small. But when God allows an upset in the balance and they don't have anything left, they will start looking around for anything. Anybody. You just need anything, not much, just something little, and then they will remember that there has been a man at the corner. The stones the builder rejected has become the head of the corner. It was first of all rejected to the corner, but somehow people came to the corner and they found that they needed help. They found they needed direction. They found they needed leadership. They needed a miracle, and they saw something in that stone that was rejected, and that is how the stone took the lead and became the head of the corner. Are you listening to me? When what you have is small, what men do to you is that they push you aside. When what you have is not enough, what they do to you is that they reject you. And God says it's okay. You don't have to be with them for me to prove myself. They can reject you. You can get to the corner. I'm not just the God of the center. I'm also the God of the corner. I can do what I want to do from behind, and people at the front will see it, come back, and be still, and know. Humility could come out of Nazareth. Nazareth is too small. But ladies and gentlemen, he is the bread of life. But the bread of life is the son of a carpenter. But the bread of life came from a humble beginning. The bread of life, it doesn't have political connections. He wasn't an elite of his day. He was not with the top class. He was not with the powerhouse. He was small. But he's the bread of life. How can the bread of life feed all the men in the world when he's just a small guy? And they underrated him to the extent when they broke him, and immediately they broke him, there was an increase. Every man was find salvation, and the bread was extended to every man. Are you listening Listen to this. They underestimated him. See, they crucified him. And the Bible said, if they had known, if the rulers of this world had known that he's the Son of God, they wouldn't have persecuted him. And so the despised him until they tore him apart. The despised him until they broke the bread of life. And like it's happened in the wilderness, Jesus gave thanks for the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. And he wasn't scared to break it, even if it was small. Are you listening to me, somebody? To live in this place with faith and confidence. You only use the little capacity that you have. But God is telling you right now, go ahead and break it and see something happen. You think if you break it, you will get broken. You think if you break it, you will fall apart. But I'm telling you, go ahead and break it. Because I'm here with you. You get finished. It ain't over